p.m. when the purge concludes. Blessed be our new founding fathers and America, a nation reborn. May God be with you all.
Hello everyone, I am your DM of Dungeon Crawlers. I am GeneralGravey, and I am here today to talk to you about a fun little game called Robothorium. This is from our friends at Goblin Studio. They've had or have other titles such as Dungeon Rusher, Seeds of Resilience, and Firebelt. This developer, they actually have a nice, cool little setup. They're really trying to define the dungeon crawler type genre. Upon startup of the game, it was actually really nice. Everything started up beautifully, it ran well, and two of my personal favorites were the Twitch integration, because me as a streamer, I'm always about like interacting with my audience. I love that. The other thing too was that it had the proper resolution right off the bat. I use dual screen monitors for darn near everything I do, and a lot of games that I play, it unfortunately starts it up right off the bat at some ungodly resolution. I think it's like 3147 by like 2400, and it's always a pain to have to do it. So the fact that it had the proper resolution right off the bat, totally cool about that. I'm gonna get into a little bit of the music selection, because music is important with any game you play, be it setting the tone, encounters, happy moments, sad moments, stuff like that. The music, to me, on some parts, sans the intro, was kind of hit or miss. I didn't get the feeling of conflict. It really set the sci-fi tone, I'll give it that, but for the most part, it didn't give me inflection. I didn't get that sense of defining what was what. Story-wise, I was also a little confused. I didn't feel as bonded to a lot of these characters, or a lot of these robots, I should say. Because when you start up the game, you are pretty much put into, there's a human-robot kind of conflict. As the game progresses, and spoiler alert, you realize that there's more variations of robots that you meet. So you'll meet cyborgs, you'll meet more robots, you'll meet the different sci-fi variations of everything. But besides that, like, it's a nice little story to get into, and you meet other characters along the way. You meet other factions that are trying to rise up against the human menace, which I thought was kind of cool. Like, we always get that robot human conflict, but we always get it from the side of humans. So for this to do it from the side of robots was actually a refreshing change. Now what I kind of wanted to get into a little bit was the combat. Combat is turn-based, and for anybody who's played Divinity or D&D, or again Darkest Dungeon, it should feel very familiar. For those who are not familiar with it, it can be a little slow. It can feel a bit grindy at times. The other complaint I had about the combat itself is there was no real, or at least that I could find, description about I believe it's called like thorium, or the corrosion. Like, it just didn't give me that feel that the buffs and debuffs, or the damage over time, actually gave it substance. Like, I just felt whatever damaged them, or whatever could end the battle faster, is what would make it go faster, you know? Like, it didn't give me that that element of creative fights, you know. Excuse me. Like with, again, I'm gonna use Darkest Dungeon as an example. You really got the element of the bleed effects, the corrosions. It made sense. So for me, combat was kind of a letdown. The other thing I really didn't care for, and this goes back to the beginning of the story, was when you start the story, you get easy, normal, and hard. Normal is if you lose a robot or a robot goes down in combat, you lose that until you leave the dungeon and you come back. I personally, I think something that would have separated this game from Darkest Dungeon is if there was like a station where you had to pay some sort of currency to get that robot and to complete the dungeon. I feel that leaving and coming back, it's, again, very grindy, very repetitive, and the level discrepancy between the enemy combat, or the enemies, I'm sorry, and your level, it's not that much. So like if you're level 5, you go back into that dungeon, it's still level 4, but they still hit as if they're level 5. So it's like somewhere along the line the numbers just didn't mesh. The other thing, or the third thing, and this will probably be more of the final thing I'll talk about, is the item system and the level up system. I personally think it's brilliant. It's so streamlined and simplified, and it makes sense about how to level up. Again, it deals into the things like thorium, corrosiveness, stuff like that. And so I personally didn't get that, like, one is better than the other, what can I use in combo with it. It was more of like, whatever can heal my robots per turn, it's gonna do it, you know. And so for ability wise, it was, again, lackluster. Like, I didn't get that sense of it. The second one, I believe it's once you get to level 4, it really starts getting a bit more intricate, which I started getting into. Like, it tells you like how much armor you can get per turn, or how many enemies, and things of that nature. So I enjoyed that for the most part, and I mean, overall, the game is really fun. And, you know, for a $15 price tag, you really can't go wrong with something like this. I mean, no game's perfect. You're always gonna have your ups and downs, and there's some things you kind of have to make peace with. But it's overall, it's fun. The dialogue's really nice. The characters are kind of kooky. And the fact that you can have your robots with personalities, you know, like you'll get ones that are shy, fearful, you know, robots that just go 420 YOLO Swaggins mode on everything. I personally, I like it. Like, it's really nice, it's fairly simple, and I don't know, like, it's fun, you know? Like, I really can't think of any other adjective to describe it other than fun. I do hope that they patch some of the things, or at least implement some different ideas to really set it apart, because for the most part, like, it just didn't seem its own unique element. So other than that, hope you guys enjoyed my short little look here at Robothorium. Make sure that you guys follow the developers, Goblin Slayer. Their link should be in the description below, and yeah, go ahead and check out all their fantastic games, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.